Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another dispatch. And yes, sound is on. And hi, nice to see you all. Actually, I don't see anybody. I just see me. Um, One last section, and then I'm going to stop. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here, right? It's a book, but I'll just do one last section, and then I'm going to find something else for next week. Okay. So here we go. This is from, I think it's section 4. I don't really remember the sections. 5 from from sharing at the end there. So, okay, section 5. Chapter 13, physical encounter. Painting can be reproduced and digitized, then widely disseminated in this translated form. But unlike other aesthetic forms like music or film, the digital encounter radically falsifies the nature of a painting, and we are left with false conclusions about its reality. Through engaging with reproductions, we come to believe we are meeting the painting when we are, in fact, missing the painting's fundamental truth, its physical and energetic presence and impact. There are a number of essential attributes to a painting that are necessary to encounter in order to experience its power that simply do not exist in reproduction. Among these various aspects which get lost in reproduction are size and physicality. If a reproduction is online, most likely we are looking at a thumbnail or perhaps an image the size of our cell phone or computer screen. If we are encountering the image in a book, the image may be larger, depending on the size of the book, but it cannot possibly provide the physical and energetic experience of standing in front of, for example, Las Meninas by Velázquez in the Prado. Or The Lamentation by Titian at the Accademia in Venice. Or Number 31 by Jackson Pollock at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. These paintings, these handmade two-dimensional image objects, are made in relation to our bodies. Their size matters. It is integral to their meaning. The daily deluge of imagery through online consumption has radically changed our relationship to images. Images have become disembodied. John Berger describes this in his essay referred to in the introduction. No body, this is a quote, no bodies and no necessity. For necessity is the condition of the existent. It is what makes reality real. And the system's mythology requires only the not yet real, the virtual, the next purchase. End quote. Berger is presciently describing how images today, through their digitization, lack necessity. That is, they have lost their physicality and connection to the shared daily truth of our existence. The friction of an embodied, limited, mortal life. The relentless stream of virtual imagery serves to convert our cultural commons into a kind of anesthetizing visual shower, causing us to reserve our attempts at meaning and dignity to a private and closeted struggle. He continues, this is again the quote from Berger. Today, in the system's spectacle, necessity exists no more. Consequently, no experience is communicated. All that is left to share is the spectacle a game that nobody plays and everybody can watch. As has never happened before, people have to try to place their own existence and their own pains single-handed in the vast arena of time and the universe. End quote. In contrast, full-sized physical paintings ranging from Ecce Homo by Titian to Number 7 by Rothko to My Father's Hands by Kossoff, through face-to-face encounter with them, touch the tender pathos and sublime truth of our shared human condition. They stand solid against the rush of digital drivel, enduringly powerful in their silent testimony. A second aspect critical to understanding the power of a painting, which gets lost in reproduction, lies in it being both a two-dimensional image as well as a three-dimensional object. Standing up close to a surface and encountering the physical stuff with which the painting is made, perhaps flagrant impasto, or simply one clear brush mark, evidence of a hand wielding pigment. Then stepping back and seeing this materiality cohere into an image of space, form, and light is a distinctively magical experience. The mind teeters back and forth between, on the one hand, attending to a handmade object made of colored mud, and on the other, engaging with a spatial image, a felt, illuminated world of imagined depth. Our minds cannot carry both of these experiences simultaneously, just as we cannot see in the famous 19th century illustration, the rabbit at the same time as the duck. There is something powerful and meaningful in the ongoing transformation between physical materiality and imagined visual world that reproductions, by definition, deny. Reproductions necessarily turn the painting into a flattened image that obliviates the painting's actual physicality. There is no access to the ongoing alchemy of physical object becoming spatial experience and back again, which is key to the power of a painting. This magical experience of translation is one of the essential ways a painting gives us access to the wonder of being. When I encounter a painting and find myself moving from the actual physical surface into an experience of spatial depth and rendered form, my system becomes sensitive to dimensionality. By dimensionality, I refer to the experience of physical depth as inherently meaningful. It is a felt experience of depth that I understand, not only with my mind, but inwardly in my body as a kind of physical empathy. This occurs when I allow my attention to slow down and drop from thinking in my head to sensing in my body. By sensing within my body, I open to a sympathetic reception of the space to which I am attending. This is something we are all familiar with in an almost daily way. It is not esoteric. Think of the feeling we have standing at the shoreline of a beach, looking out at the horizon. We open inwardly to the experience of what we usually think of as external depth. This experience does not depend on the sublimity of looking out at the ocean. It happens as I sit in my kitchen and look across the room or out my front porch or across a parking lot. Space seen and felt. Upon closer examination, we may find that this inward experience of depth is in actuality, the experience of being. This is the same experience we encounter when standing in front of a physical object with a flat surface, as it magically provides us access to a world, a whole world within it. We experience the depth of being. This dimension of being is denied in a reproduction. Several years ago, I had the good fortune to visit a group exhibition of British figurative painters at the Getty Museum in Los Angeles. London Calling. The exhibition included many great painters from the second half of the 20th century, including Francis Bacon, Lucian Freud, Frank Auerbach, and David Hockney, among others. Each had their own room. Standing in the room which held Leon Kossoff's work, I was exhilarated by the sheer power and physicality of the paint. It was almost incomprehensible how Kossoff managed to wield the vast amounts of this viscous goo, let alone turn it into an image of a man sitting. I took photo after photo of one painting in particular, Man in a Wheelchair, 1959 to 1962, trying to capture a likeness of it, and could not. The lighting in the exhibition space was quite good, soft and diffused, and my phone was able to faithfully capture the painting's tonality and color. But all of the images ran flat. I was facing massive amounts of physical paint that my mind kept translating into an image. But the digital photos I took with my phone were already translations of the painting's staggering materiality. The impact I felt from this painting was inseparable from its incessant transformation. Each time I found my way into the presented world of the image, I would be snapped back by the demanding materiality of the paint. This gymnastic encounter was simply not available with a photo. A third, and perhaps the most essential aspect of a painting inherently missing from a reproduction, is presence. Presence, as I've previously mentioned, is the invisible but felt energetic force of the painting. It is the energetic power that gets imbued into a painting through the depth and intensity of engagement of the painter. It is carried in and is inseparable from the material. When I faced Kossoff's painting, I was not only hit by the profound and ongoing translation of physicality into image and back again. I was hit by the painting's extraordinary energetic power and presence. Although reproductions may serve as a kind of memory trigger, they simply cannot provide any real hint of a painting's potential presence. We cannot know from looking at a painting's reproduction what kind of impact the painting might have. When I was in my 20s, I put on a backpack and traveled through Europe, visiting the great museums and gathering a lot of first-hand experience of painting. The Zurich Museum of Art was having a large Matisse exhibition at the time. Although my teachers at UC Santa Cruz had repeatedly proclaimed Matisse's greatness, when I looked at reproductions, although I could see his beautiful color and patterning, I found it all rather too decorative and remote. I wasn't particularly impressed, but still thought I should probably visit the museum in any case. When I entered the exhibition, I was unexpectedly overwhelmed by the power of the work. The impact of Matisse's paintings collapsed my mind. I stood still, stunned, and wept. There is a necessary physical intimacy when encountering a painting. The painting's physical proximity causes a particular form of interaction. This interaction is an ancient exchange, undeniably low-tech, that in some essential ways provides connection and a healing response to the alienation and divisiveness of our times. Okay, so ah, that's it for this for now. And I'll be reading something else next week. So I hope you're all well, making stuff, staying cool in the middle of the summer. Right. Be well, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.